Hello everybody. Today I have a pleasure to have interview with actually my colleague, which I met at Rotterdam Square kickoff event in Rotterdam at Erasmus MC University, and I was really happy to actually meet Sade, to see her watching her actually teaching. But then we came in contact, and I was really happy that she agreed to actually, as a busy entrepreneur too, but she will tell more about this now in this interview, what she's doing and what she's driven by. So welcome you again, Sade, and how are you in general?
Thank you. I'm good, actually. Had quite a busy day today. Busy morning, but lots of interesting subjects about software validation and thinking about strategy and people. So yeah, I'm good, and I'm also pregnant from my second child.
Oh wow! Oh, congratulations! Oh, that's really fresh news. Yes. Oh, wonderful! Congratulations.
Yeah. So actually, I've a very good day today. Feeling great. So.
Oh wow! Yeah. Oh, so definitely all the questions I have prepared. I hope that you will also enjoy, since you already had some creative activities during the day with a strategy and so on. So for those which don't know about Sade, she is also entrepreneur, and she's actually clinical informatician, and she's applying artificial intelligence. But I had more questions before we come to artificial intelligence, which I think we all excited about building innovation based on artificial intelligence. I have a question in this Agile interview, which we try to also bring in time efficient way, because we all very busy as entrepreneurs. My question is more about, first of all, your path, because I'm always fascinated by entrepreneurial paths of women. And could you shortly then tell us about your AI based entrepreneurial path? And especially, I was very interested, how did you become, because that can be very new profession for many people which will watch our interview. How did you become AI clinical informatician?
Yeah. So actually, I started with studying biomedical and biopharmaceutical science. At first I was into research, doing research to neurodevelopmental disorders. And then after I finished my master, I thought, okay, should I continue being a researcher, or should I explore something else? And then I really liked to work more closely to clinical practice. So I was doing research like in also within hospitals, but then it's not very close to clinical practice. So I thought I want to explore that more. So after my master's, I went abroad, worked in a hospital in the Caribbean. And there I worked in a clinical chemistry laboratory. So that was also like a little bit different than what I was used to. But that was actually the first moment that I got in touch with healthcare IT systems and how the interface between technology and healthcare. So I really liked to interact with the care professionals. And on the other hand, I really liked that there was much technology that was implemented, and where we did projects and quality assurance. So after a year abroad, I thought, okay, I want to specialize myself more in this field. So I went back to the Netherlands and started to specialize myself in the field of clinical informatics. So I did a postmaster professional doctorate of engineering degree at the Technical University of Eindhoven. So I did that program. It was 2 years, and it was combined with working in hospital that I work in now. And yeah, actually, that was kind of the beginning of AI in healthcare and like the work in AI in healthcare, because at that time it was like started in 2019. It was the time when within the hospital clinical AI was being implemented. So
Yeah.
that was like
Yeah.
the subject where I really wanted to explore further. So yeah, that was actually the beginning of the journey.
Very nice that you could find after coming back from abroad actually education, which maybe it's not a complete match, right? But it could give you this environment which you can grow as a AI entrepreneur. So it's very nice to hear from you.
Yes.
And knowing this, I think we maybe will put in also link maybe for this post-master education, because maybe somebody from people who are watching it, it seems to get inspired and think like, yeah, that's something which I also would like to maybe follow the same path as Sade. So from this path, I think this path is important also, as you already said about that you were exploring something which is not completely, it's quite very new, even in the education field. So definitely you have very open mindset. So I would also, based on what you said, realize that we always have to, when we choose education or decide to become entrepreneurs, think that our mindset really determines our actions, right? Also in education, also in becoming this AI entrepreneur in healthcare, which I found it's really great and very futuristic almost, still sounds. But I wonder, now you said that you're second time pregnant, but also I also curious, I think for all other women which are also entrepreneurs and wanted to combine their motherhood, I also wonder regarding the mindset, how did your motherhood, since you're the mom, made an impact on your mindset, and how you would describe your mindset? I don't want to call it motherhood mindset, but mindset which was changing because of that, and what an impact it had. So if you could think about some 3 personal qualities, it would be great to hear from you.
Yeah. I thought about like three things. I think the first one is I'm now better in prioritizing, way better. And that was also because we had to deal like with my first pregnancy and birth of my son. We had to deal with a lot of hospital visits. It was a long way to recovery. So like the year after, I had to deal with like hospital visits, work, at home, family, friends. So all that came together, and then you have to like prioritize like what is important. So I think that really helped me also like work wise, really say, okay, once I started working again, it was quite difficult, because you have all these things going on at home with my own health, with the health of my son. And I realized that I can't do everything at once. So I have to make choices and also like communicate that to my colleagues. Which is, I think,
so very
transparent.
So very transparent communication right away from beginning. Yes.
And also be really mindful of, okay, how am I feeling today? What tasks need to be done really for this week, or what can wait for another week, instead of saying yes to everything and then trying to do everything at the at the same moment.
So I would say,
yes,
so I would say that this is definitely, to sum up, it's prioritizing, right? But also transparent communication, right? And assertiveness.
Yeah.
Being assertive about these things.
Yes. That's really important. And I also think like the time management. So what I said earlier, like you have to deal with a lot of calendars at once. And then also like work-wise, there are a lot of external activities, and you have to make really good agreements at home also. So that was, I think, also very supporting, is that you have to support at home to do all things. It's not that you have to do it all alone. So I think those are like the qualities that really help me also in work.
Okay, no, it's very, I think I found it very important because indeed a lot of people would like to, or women would like to start their business and they don't know where to start from it. And I think that's what you said. This time management, right? It's also important, but also to really keep also priorities. I can even sense it how important this can be, especially when you have such work entrepreneurial
Yeah,
balance.
especially, and like before, I was used to like doing all these things in the evening, or when I had to write certain pieces, I was writing at times when I felt creative, and that could have been like at 11 in the evening or something, you know. But yeah, now when you have a kid at home, you can't
Yeah,
do it anymore. So you really have to see how to efficiently use your time.
yeah, yeah,
That helps. So when you say to yourself, okay, I have 2 hours to do this task, and then you only have those 2 hours, or maybe shorter, because when when the baby wakes up, you maybe have 1 hour. So you really learn how to use your time efficiently.
yeah, yeah, and fit everything in, right? Baby schedule. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks
yeah.
a lot. So now coming closer to this baby and motherhood, um, as I thought before, being a mother and entrepreneur, for me that's already being entrepreneur is a challenge. So I admire you very much to be two in one. But
Yeah,
it can
yeah,
be a
yes, it
challenge
is.
every day. Can be a challenge every day. I can only imagine this, but also can be difficult, right? But whatever we call it in difficult in entrepreneurship, we call it it's a challenge. But uh, uh, I thought when you told me about that you have still time for books, then that made me even feel like, wow, this is time management expert. And I wonder if you could share with us shortly, the book which I know that's your favorite, but I don't will not say the title, not to spoil it. And also, if you could share with us, why do you think this book could be useful for other mothers in business or other mothers
Yeah,
entrepreneurs? But also mothers which want
yeah,
to start their own business, and it's worldwide, right? It is very common that all women across the globe wants to start their business. So I think this book can be very, I think, applying to many mothers across the globe, but also maybe also fathers entrepreneurs, because I think that's something which also, I mean, can be very, very maybe relevant. And if you could bring some quote from the book, that I would be really, really delighted about
yeah.
that.
Yes, yes. So the book is called Gather, Hunt, Parent, from Michaeline Ducleef. This is the one in Dutch.
Okay.
And it's about how Asian cultures raise children, and what we can learn from that as Western parents. So it really inspired me to reflect on my own thoughts about parenting, and how um, the way I look at the development of the bond between my child and I. Um, and I was looking for a quote, and then uh, I was I was thinking, okay, maybe AI can help me, because I have to like go through the whole book again and seek for an interesting quote. So I actually asked ChatGPT for some kind of summary. So I have a summary about what like the main message of the book is, and why I think it helps us look at parenthood less stressful. So I think it could actually make parenthood less stressful at times. So I can read it. So this is what ChatGPT said.
Okay.
Children benefit from being included in the adult world, as it allows them to learn valuable life skills, develop a sense of responsibility, and foster a deep connection with their families and communities. Involving children in real world activities such as cooking, gardening, or decision making not only empowers them but also nurtures their cognitive, emotional, and social development. preparing them for adulthood and promoting their overall well-being. So I thought, okay, that's quite a good summary actually. And like the quote I found later, so I looked up, is like the problem is, I think, that children are only raised in child-friendly places. When they are in a place where different rules apply, they may disrupt things. Other people get angry, and then the parents give up. But don't give up. Have a little patience. Remember that you are teaching your child a new skill. So that's actually, when you translate that to daily life, it's like what we are used to, I think, as Western parents, is that we want to organize a lot for a child. You know, when we are off from work, we want to organize all these child-centered activities, go to
Yeah.
play days,
Yeah,
go
like structure their life. Yeah, like structure their life.
yeah, structure their life. And also when you have in the weekends, you all do like these fun activities for the children, and then on the other hand, you also have to do like your household, you have to do all the adult stuff, you have
Yeah.
to see your own friends, like, and that is a lot. So you can feel like maybe sometimes you can feel guilty because you're working, and then if you're off, you want to spend time with your child, and you want to have a fun time, and that brings a lot of pressure, I think, to parents.
Mm-hmm.
So what this book and this message really taught me is that, okay, how do they do that in Asian cultures all over the world? Is that they just include the children in their daily life. So
Mm-hmm.
for a toddler or even for a baby, it's even a fun activity if you just clean together, or let them help cook or prepare dinner, teach them about how you wash vegetables or what a vegetable is, you know. So these kind of little tasks, you include them in your daily life. So you can get with going to the groceries, hanging out with your own friends, and if they have children, that's even nicer.
Yeah.
And that should be enough, you know. And then of course you can you can let them play with toys, or you can have a day out occasionally, but not every week and not every weekend, you know,
Yeah.
because that's very much the pressure. So that's also why I think it's important to show your child your work environment. And I did with when we met. I
Exactly.
brought my child also to
Yeah, and everybody noticed, and they were so proud of you that you've been there. Yes, you've been there with your with your child, with your.
And actually, then you realize that like the adult world that we know is not organized in including children, but actually it could be different, you know. So yeah, when you're planning an event, think about the parents with young children.
Exactly, I think that's another important conclusion, that if you indeed organize events, especially for I think you still should take care that this some support to take care of children can be offered during the event. I think that's something which could make it completely inclusive, because there's so much discussion about how inclusive we generate such culture, or in work or at events. But I think at events that would be really nice if indeed what you said, such conditions are organized, so you can focus on your innovation. But that was really nice indeed that you was with your that you were with your child. So I think that's also something for mothers, that it should not be taken as something not professional, right? Because a lot of people think this way, like, if I will show up with my kid, I sound unprofessional, I look unprofessional.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so you really have to go through that maybe that thought that you have on your own, right? Because that usually is in your own mind, like, oh, what will people think of when I do this? But I think there should be space for just doing it. And explore, let your child explore and learn from these experiences.
Yes, I fully agree. And you never know when your son or child decides to also become entrepreneur, and sooner she will gain this entrepreneurial skills by looking at you or father.
Yeah.
She is naturally actually almost born as entrepreneur as soon as or as early she starts to participate in all these events. And also not be afraid of people, right? Because usually these events also are, of course, there's a lot of people present. So that's, I think, teaching child to be open, to be communicative, and I found this fantastic, actually. So, well,
it was really fun, and he had the time of his life when he was playing around the venue. It was so nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. I really liked it. It's you bring new type of role model in and as entrepreneur mother, and I think that also gives other women a courage to don't be afraid and don't feel like this can look unprofessional. So Sade, I know that you are very busy because as we talked about motherhood, that's also priority. So I don't keep you longer than the 3 questions. I would have always more questions because I'm curiosity-driven entrepreneur in general. But I think you really said something very important, and thank you also for empowerment, because this interview can be also very much empowering for other mothers, as I said, across the globe.
Yeah, I hope so.
So thank you once again, and I hope we will, continue at some points. Let's say that there will be next interview, and not right away, of course, but at some point there will be next interview, so you can, you can share more about this path. And I think this is fascinating. Then from perspective, there will be maybe few interviews. Watch this interviews as also path, like a process, at the stage. So maybe we'll meet in a year if you do not mind, and we'll talk about changes and maybe some new learned lessons. And I think this is fascinating to watch watch you over. So I wish you all the best in innovation.
Thank you.
Especially AI driven innovation. And I really like when you said that, you brought even summary about the book. So I think that's another thing which I could pick up here as a lesson, that if we entrepreneurs don't have time or we're too busy to learn or read books, we can use chat, right? To help us.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the interview, for the invitation, and it was really nice to meet you.
Yes, thanks a lot. And well, let's have now a nice Easter time. So for all you guys, we will still put the link for or actually some info for the education postmaster, and the quote. If you could, Sade, please send me the quote by LinkedIn or email. Then I will also put this quote in comments. So I think then people can refresh it every time they watch the interview. So thanks a lot.
I will.
Yes, thank you very much, and take care. Have a good day.
Take care. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye.